Right. So, okay. So this is for Module 5 discussion interculture communications. So the culture decided to do a little research or a deep dive was Japanese culture. Um, so let me go through the list to make the video a little more you know coherent. Give us a basic information about the culture you choose to research. So basic information. As we all know, the Japanese created a lot of innovations, not only in the you know technical aspect of society, but also in entertainment. That's kind of one of the reasons why I also wanted to do research because there's a lot of of researching in that area. Um, One of the things that I really do like is the entertainment sorts they really put out. So like manga is one of those things that I'm actually wearing a shirt kind of like inspired by them too. But entertainment, that's one of the big things I really like about the culture. They do a lot of crafty kind of things going. Um, they do hand drawn posters, a lot of hand drawn books, and a lot of like drafting before doing an actual finalized version of things. That could be just like a concept of an engine to just a model of just like the manga panels. Um, so, um, how does the culture compare to the United States in terms of individualism? So there's a lot of individualism um, in the Japanese culture. One of the things that I did find out based on my personal take of the research is that there's a lot of manga artists out there. So kind of like an author book here in the states, manga artists kind of form kind of the same mindset or the way of thinking where they try to make their own storylines to be more different or more, you know, I guess in contrast to the previous big name manga artists out there in Japan. So they try to make their own little twist and turns to like the storyline, to the drawing type of um, style they try to go for, and it's very impressive. And I've seen some of the manga artist interviews on why they did certain things, and most of the time, their big thing was just like a personal, type of experience they had. So they would relate to other previous animes or previous drawings that they saw from other artists, and they kind of get inspired and do like a self insert of a personal like information about them or just I guess a drawing they've done since elementary school. High and low context communications. I would say the country has very high context communication and low context communication. There's a lot of so Japan has a thing where they have different dialects, I guess. So they speak like in different type of sense. So like how the north and south have their own little phrase that's supposed to mean something, and Japan also experienced the same thing where the southern islands of Japan they have their own because they weren't initially part of Japan. They kind of got adopted or kind of like um, taken over by Japan. So they had already a different language, but they had to adopt the Japanese language to make it official that they're part of the country. So because of that, people who live in Okinawa they have this foreign tongue that most Japanese from the northern side don't understand because they just don't speak the language. So there's that. There's a lot of like phrases that it's like integrated into the Japanese language, but not fully there. Uh, I saw a lot of those type of explanations from different online searches. But that's one of the big things. So I thought that was pretty cool because the U.S. also suffers from that somewhat as well. Are there any unique traditions to celebrate in the culture? So yeah, well, unique in a sense, but I guess it's just like a big summer festival event. They have the fireworks they have going on, kind of just to really bring out the warm weather since everyone's kind of like out of school or on vacation or from other foreign countries that come into to the country to just celebrate. It's one of those festivals where it's kind of like it brings people together. Um, okay, perception of power or competition corporation. So perception of power is definitely a thing. Um, so you're kind of there. You have to, especially whenever you're working, and once you get into the workforce, you kind of have to look over your senior or your person in charge who's like a year in before you, or like uh, it's here above you in like a job position. So you kind of look over them, ask them questions, concerns about certain things. Kind of like in the U.S., but over there it's more like mentor ish, or more like a learning experience as you climb up the ladder of corporate Japan. It's pretty cool, but the one of the things that I do see a lot of concerns regarding that aspect is because the workforce is that much competitive. There's a lot of like coping mechanism that a lot of Japanese really go through. So most Japanese workers go above that 60 hour a week type of uh, intense work training. I guess I don't know what would you call that, because it's not training, but it's like almost mandatory, kind of obligatory for most Japanese just work that much. And because of that, they gas out pretty quickly. Most of them just go through a shonen phase. Others go through like a alcoholism kind of phase where they just get blackout drunk every night after like a great shift with their coworkers. And I mean, there's just a lot of videos out there where they kind of found in the street just kind of sleeping with their like office shirts or like uniform still there, and it's becoming a large problem in Japan. So I would say that's one of the things that's kind of dark from Japan. But they have some other qualities as well where you can view it as very deemable, very respectful. The Japanese, one of their main things is that they try to have whatever they output to be very high in quality and very thought out. We often hear about Toyota just making one of the most beautiful, engineered cars because they last long and they're somewhat tough, and in the engineering aspect, it's just like built to last. And that's kind of like found in the car community as well, where you can find appreciation for this Japanese engineering area, where everything that's basically touched by a Japanese person, it's really it screams quality. All right. Last thing. What are the results of this research? What knowledge did you acquire that might help you become more culturally competent if you were to visit this culture? Um, so the one information that I found uh, Japan is that they're very selective about foreigners. They often steer away from foreigners because they have that type of experience with foreigners, just like not understanding the culture or just not appreciating it by, you know, as we famously know, is that Logan Paul, a YouTuber slash streamer, now a figure in the media, top elite. Back in the mid 2000s, he visited Japan and infamously made a case where it was the Logan Paul case in the Japanese woods. So because of that, one of the information that I did find is that you kind of have to really understand the culture. Do not misbehave in anybody else's culture or I guess country. Really do appreciate that. Try to learn the cues. Try to just be polite since their culture is really just revolves being polite amongst others. Um, Other than that, as long as you're just like a decent human being, you will be all right visiting Japan. Um, So yeah, that's my video, and thank you for listening and watching.